Okay, here we go with Fall of Cybertron Kickback. I've got him here in robot mode because that's the mode that all of these Fall of Cybertron figures seem to be packaged in. And, well, just look at him. Isn't he lovely? Look at this thing. First things first, I want to delve into this lovely paintwork on his torso here. I mean, that's probably the first thing that took your eye. It's definitely the first thing that took my eye when I first saw it in the box. All of this gold on these sort of shoulder pads and his chest. You have got a little tiny Decepticon symbol on that gold bit of his chest there as well, and just look at it. The colours are excellent. This purple against this really nice gold, it sort of makes him look like maybe there's chocolate inside him, because it just looks like a chocolate wrapper to me. But yeah, this is just a lovely looking thing, covered in spikes on these shoulder pads, and the arms are suitably spiky as well, with more lovely gold on there, which will form the sort of grasshopper abdomen piece, I suppose. More spikes on his elbows, and just overall, look at this. It couldn't turn into anything other than an insect, could it? It is just such a sort of chitinous robot mode. I love it, I really do. The head sculpt might not scream Kickback to some people, seeing as he's known for sort of having a mouth along with that visor, but I don't know, I kind of dig this new look with this sort of slightly insect mandible thing going on here, but it does make him look a bit like a Viacom with that sort of going straight from the eyes down faceplate. But at least he's got his rubbery antenna, so you still know who it is. Above his head he's got these sort of, I don't know, I can only describe them as either Doc Ock tentacles or Iron Spider-Man things. They're big bug claw legs that hang off his back that are reasonably posable. There's a ball joint in there and a swivel there, but you're not going to get these to close or anything like that. But at least they are painted nicely. We've even got like the little sort of glowing purpley decal in the joint there. Going down to his other set of legs, you see just even more lovely detail. Both sides of his knee joint are painted with this sort of glowing purple effect, and I just really like the way this end of him looks. You've got really nice big joints in here that just let you get a lot of range of movement. The hips are all jointed up as they should be, and even his feet, the ankles will tilt and go up and down and just everywhere you want, so you can just get him into some really good stable poses with these really nice big feet he's got. Overall, this robot mode is just a really good representation of Kickback in the game, even down to the back, where they've got these sort of, well, what you might think is kibble with these insect arms here. Those are on the actual game model, so there is no kibble here. He is just all-round flawless Bugman. As befitting anything from Fall of Cybertron, he comes with a mighty weapon here, but I just can't help but think it's too big. I mean, look at that. It is bigger than his torso, and it's just, I'm surprised it's not weighing his arm down, because this gear shredder here is enormous. I've got these sort of purple wing blade bits stuck on the sides here, just because if you have him holding it, there's nowhere else for these to go. There are ports on his legs or on the claws up here, but with the way they sit sideways, it just doesn't look right at all. But yes, take them off, cast them aside, and you've got a proper gear shredder from the game, which, well, launches this disc with next to no power at all. But I'm sure you'll be pleased to know it launches chocolate coins much more effectively. So there's the gear shredder. It's nice to have a game accurate weapon with him, but I really would have preferred it to have been smaller. It just seems far too unwieldy for him to use, just because it's so big, and it really didn't need to be that cumbersome. So let's put that to the side for a while and look at these things. Yes, these two delicious shards of black currentiness are what come with him to sort of facilitate secondary weapons, I suppose. He can hold them in his hands like shivs, I suppose, and go hacking at people. So before I transform him, here's a quick size comparison with the Fall of Cybertron figure everyone seems to have. Shockwave over there. And you'll see, yeah, I suppose it's a pretty good matchup. He does end up feeling a bit bigger because of all the legs and stuff on him, and he just feels heavier than Shockwave does. But I suppose you can see Shockwave is a little bit taller, and I suppose that's just about right. Now we've had a good gawk at his robot-y detail, it's time to transform him, and to be honest, this isn't going where you think it is, because while the insect mode looks a bit simple, and you can see exactly where all the robot bits go, they do not get there in the sort of way you would imagine. It's a bit of one of those sort of roundabout transformations that is a bit more complex than it probably needed to be, but it's nice that they added in that level of complexity so you don't just feel like it's just, you know, sticking some legs out and turning them over. We shall start by extending these forearm guards here, and you want to flip the nice shiny bits down over his chest like that, which is how he comes packaged, but it's not how his bot mode is meant to look. Then you can collapse these shoulder guards down, turn his head round, and on his back you'll see there's this sort of silver thing hanging off, which you want to bring up and over his face, moving the antenna out of the way, which will make his insect head, which we'll look at better in a minute. So once you do that, it loosens up all this chest stuff here, and you can completely split his body down the middle, and this is where things start to go a bit upside down, topsy-turvy, inside out. Because then you bring the sort of head torso section down to where his crotch would have been, and basically work from here. You can turn round these insect front legs like that, because they're meant to be facing that way, and I only put them around the other way for game accuracy mode. Get these big long ones out of the way, and you can bring what were the arms up and round, rotating them so the sort of spiky bits are at the side, but the shiny bits are on the top, as it were. Then you can bring them together where they sort of, I don't know, a bit loosely peg in. I'd rather they went together a bit better, to make the abdomen, and yeah, there's some hands sticking out there, probably exactly where they shouldn't be, but ignore that for now. Next you want to come to what were the halves of his body and sort of lay them along the sides there, and this is where you do something the instructions don't really tell you to do, is move what were the halves of his crotch in like that, so that the hip joint here is on the outside. Now you can arrange these arms where they're meant to go, they sort of clip in there facing forward, and then you want to twist the legs round, and you can extend them like so to make more grasshoppery sort of hopping bits. Then you rotate the feet the wrong way round. You'll notice there's some nice sort of thrustery sculpted in bits there, which is even more game accurate. And then as the final touch, you take the see-through purple bits and they clip into the underside of these claws here by what I can only assume could be a 3mm bar, but I haven't tested that yet, to make the wings. And there you go. So here is Kickback in his insect mode, looking like a, well, it's got to be said, rather disproportionate sort of robot grasshopper. I mean, the front is all nice, yeah, you've got the head there looking a bit different. I like the way they've included that silver bit to sort of make mandibles, and if you look, there are some bits sculpted in to make the bug eyes on the sort of block of light piping there. He's got nice spiky arms at the front, but sadly they just don't move at all. They are completely static apart from the sort of assembly they use to transform. The legs extend nicely to make these sort of multi-jointed, really, really big grasshopper legs at the back here. I suppose it's good that they are so large because it sort of emphasises how powerful his legs must be, and when he's called Kickback, you know he's going to be known for having rather strong legs. I just think overall it is a really cool looking robot grasshopper mode. It accentuates everything that you would sort of think of when you think of a grasshopper, namely giant legs. But there's a lot more going on as well. There's just loads of detail crammed in, and all the spikes and claws and just jaggedy bits make him look really good and rather menacing, even if you can't really do a lot with this mode. Now you might be thinking, once you've got him into this completely bugly mode, where the hell will this go? It is incredibly large, and well, you've got a few ports about the place, I guess. I mean, there's ones on the inside of these claws here, or, well, the ports you would have had on his robot mode legs now on the inside of the bug legs, so there really isn't anywhere to put this. Until, however, you notice these prongs up here. Now, to be honest, this is not something I discovered myself by any means. I mean, I'd fiddled about with this figure and thought, well, what are these for? And it took Matter Smasher to tell me that they actually allow you to clip the gear shredder on up here to his wings, like so, that I realised you do actually have a bit of weapon storage. Although, of course, it is completely, well, it's just silly. For a start, how is he going to fly with that keeping his wings together, and it makes him so much more heavy? It is really odd. But there you go, there's a bit of an undocumented thing that I hope has helped some people who are thinking, well, what do you do with this and what's all this for? Because that's exactly what I was thinking when I got him. So there you have it. Kickback is just an extremely highly recommended Insecticon here. I really hope that we get hard shell, and what's shrapnel called these days? Sharp shot? Something like that. I really hope we get the rest of the Insecticons, because if this guy's anything to go by, those are going to be just mind-blowing. And really, if you're looking for a top-notch Fall of Cybertron figure, or just a nice sort of robot-y beast mode, I really don't think you can do any better than this right now. It would be silly for me to say go out and look for this guy in stores, because I know he's only hit a handful of stores in the US, and you're really not going to be able to find this in the UK until I don't know when. I got mine off Kapow, and I think really, if you're in the UK, your best bet is online. So go out there and get hunting for this really thoroughly nice gnarly creature. You won't be disappointed.